So help me welcome to the stage, without further ado, the most incredible, amazing man, Pace Morby, everybody. Give him a hand. Woo! Get on your feet. Let's hear it for Pace Morby, everybody!
Hey guys, wow. All right, thank you so much. All right, I've got a clicker they're gonna bring down to me. Actually, I have some stuff to teach you guys, so this will be good. Okay, so I was supposed to be here yesterday. So let me tell you the truth, okay? I gotta tell you the honest truth. So I have a ranch that I live at in Montana. One of my properties we bought for on Creative Finance. I bought this really cool 20-acre farm, $3.7 million for $1 down payment and no credit check. That's what I do for a living. And my passport is in that house right now. So, and I live in Arizona primarily. So I go to grab my bag and I grab my passport card and I couldn't log into the flight. And it's like, we need your passport information. I'm like, all right, punch it in. It's like, no, not the card. We need the book. I'm like, the book's in Montana. Take my card. They're like, you can't fly with the card. You have to have the physical book. Did you guys all know this? Okay, that card. Okay, I didn't know that. So, and what sucks is, so Dean Graziosi, I don't know if Dean came and hung out at the event or not, but Dean Graziosi is a good friend of mine. He texted me, he goes, hey, do you want me to fly you on my jet down to Brent Gove's event? And I was like, nah, I'm gonna spend another day with my wife and kids, I'm good. And of course I should have taken that, because what happens is I have to drive to Tucson from Phoenix, get a brand new passport yesterday. I spent 12 hours getting a brand new passport. Then I go to the airport this morning and they change flights on us, or change planes on us 3 times. And I finally just barely walked in the hotel 30 seconds ago. So thank you guys for being patient. So, now, the reason why I didn't just text Brent, who is like a superhero of mine, and everything you guys are doing at EXP is so freaking special. Like, how does it feel to be real estate agents that are changing the way the industry operates? Right? Like, you're not participating in the industry, you're actually forging it forward. That is freaking cool. And Brent is a big hero of mine, and I love him, and I actually joined a mastermind this year where he was in it, and I go, oh my gosh, that's freaking Brent Gove. And now here I am 6 months later on stage with Brent. So thank you guys for having me, appreciate it. Okay, so I've got an hour, and I will go 5. I literally will go 5. I love what I do, and let's see if we can get the clicker to work, and we'll see where we're at. Where do you guys want me to point the clicker? Boom. Okay, so literally, I text Jen. Jen works for me in my RV parks in Montana, and I text her. I was like, "Yo, can you go to my house and fly my passport to me?" Like, that's how desperate I was to get here. And then, did anybody see Steve Harward yesterday in the breakout session? Okay. Okay, he was amazing, right? Okay, so he filled in for me. Do you guys mind if we just say Steve Harward really loudly on a video real fast? Okay. You guys cool with that? Okay, on the count of 3, I'm gonna wave the camera over you guys and we're gonna say Steve Harward, okay? 1, 2, 3. Steve Harward! Yes, thank you guys. Okay, so he filled in for me yesterday, so that's what happened. I had to go down to Tucson and that freaking sucked. So it is what it is, I'm here. All right, so do I blow on it? like a Nintendo cartridge? Like there we go, okay. I'm not a big bank person. I know a lot of people in here are probably buying real estate using the BRRRR strategy and credit and all of that kind of stuff, and a lot of your investors that you work with do the same thing. My history did not allow me to use banks. So it wasn't like I woke up one day and they said, F banks. I just had a lot of things going on in my life. I was a contractor, and contractors, we try and claim as little as we possibly can on our taxes, right? And so what about you agents? You guys really like bankable? Isn't that the most ironic thing, is that a licensed real estate agent is probably one of the most unbankable people on the planet? Like, you guys get 1099, right? Basically, you have your own business, and there's ups and downs, and there's good years, and there's bad years, et cetera. So when you're going to a bank, and you're like, I want to go get a loan, I want to go acquire an RV park or multifamily or whatever, the bank's like, sorry, you have to show 2 years of consistent income. right? It's not fun. So that's one of the reasons why I hate banks. Oh my gosh, dude, are you kidding me? We had one of the best conversations the other night. Like, wow, you guys have killers in this room. Wow. Okay, so I have a big, long history. Let's see if this will work. Okay, cool. So I'm Pace. I own 9 companies. We might have a really hard time going through this today, guys. 600 employees, blah, blah, blah. 30,000 in community members, and I'm so obsessed, very much like Brent Gove. I think Brent is just obsessed with helping others. Can you guys not like feel that? Every time he's in the room, you're just like, dude, this guy cares more about me than he cares about himself. That's why I hit it off with Brent. He's my hero. I am a big community builder. I have the largest real estate community in the world by a long shot. I think somebody that is beyond me or behind me is probably 1/10 our size. And these are people that are all learning how to do creative finance. These are people that are learning how to, I'm gonna say some things that might hurt some real estate agents' feelings, but this is all to help you guys out. Do we all agree? Bro, are you kidding me? You're here too? Dude, there are killers in this room. Okay, so a lot of these people learn from me how to go around real estate agents, not illegally, but we go around you guys because some of you guys don't know how to do certain things. It's not the people in this room. This room is a really high-level room, but most agents give agents a bad name. Do we all agree with that? And to be honest with you, most investors also give investors a bad name too. So this is like a very small, cool room. This is the 2%ers. These are the people that are cool. We all get it. So if I kind of tease real estate agents, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the industry. Are we okay with that? Okay, so I have 30,000 people that learn from me to basically avoid real estate agents and avoid banks as much as humanly possible because they slow things down, okay? Father of 4, which is freaking awesome. My wife and I are having conversations about having a 5th one. What do you guys think? Should we have another one? All right. That's definitely not my decision, you know, right? Okay, so 15 years ago, I was a contractor. You guys know Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow? I was Open Door's first contractor. I was OfferPad's second contractor, and I was Zillow's primary largest contractor when they were busy flipping homes before they turned that into a dumpster fire. You guys remember that? I was also one of the contractors, so what they would do with me is they would, you guys like Open Door? Nobody here is from Open Door, right? We can talk shit. Oh, you are from Open Door. Oh, she works there, okay. Your daughter's dope, Open Door sucks, okay. I remember, so the way I got hired from Open Door is I was a contractor and I would go on Instagram and I would type hashtag Arizona contracting. This is 15 years ago. And Open Door moves into Phoenix, that was their first market, and they were looking for contractors. The way they found me is they just went to Instagram and they looked up hashtags. And they found me and they go, hey, will you come in? We're this brand new company that's trying to put real estate agents out of business. That was literally the first line they said to me. I mean, you guys know this, like Zillow and other people are really trying to make it so that hand-holding process just kind of gets eliminated and they're trying to automate, which is impossible, right? How can somebody replace a real estate agent? It's so, anybody that's been a buyer's agent, drove all these people around freaking 30, 40 houses before they make a decision on one. It's like, how is Open Door gonna freaking replace that? At first, I would say most real estate agents are therapists first, right? Like you guys are marriage counselors second, right? Open Door couldn't do that, and they have really done a poor job of that, but what they did is they hired me to do one thing and one thing only. They hired me to go to homeowners' houses and inflate estimates, hand those estimates to them so they could renegotiate with their sellers. You guys never interacted with Open Door in any of this capacity? So I did this for like 3 years with Open Door, and I was like taking home $1 million a year from working just with Open Door. And then I realized, because I wasn't in real estate at the time, I was just a contractor, I realized what my estimates were actually doing. So like I would go in and do a $50,000, $60,000 estimate, but then they would buy the house and they'd give me a $1,500 work order. They did this for 3 years, and I was like, this is not my bag. This is not who I am. This is crazy. And why is that? Well, it's because I realized I was trading a lot of my time for money, and I had this unbelievable person come into my life right here. This lady changed my life. It's always a woman. I was texting my mom this morning. I was just telling my mom like how, I'm like, Mom, she says, I made so many mistakes when you were growing up, and my mom had 12 kids, dude. I'm like, Mom, I have 600 employees. 2,400 people a day are fed off of paychecks that I supply. I think you did a damn good job, Mom. So this is another woman. Yeah, shout out to my mom. So this is another woman that came into my life, and then she taught me creative finance. I'm going to teach you guys some really cool ways to make money as agents this year, okay? Is this year going to get, is this year going to be like 2022 for everybody? Hell no. 2025 is going to be like 2024. It's going to be slow. Rates are not going to go down like we think they are. And so I'm going to teach you guys how to make some money regardless of that, okay? A lot of money. We'll talk about stupid money. Okay, so Eileen Brown is this lady's name. She was actually a client of mine. I was fixing and flipping houses. She called me up. I had a good reputation in town. She says, hey, will you flip houses for me? And I said, yes. On the third house, she told me I was stupid and that I wasn't really doing what I should have been doing. And I said, well, why? And she said, well, because you show up on time, you hit budgets, you communicate, you are anything but a contractor. So I was like, what should I do? She's like, get in real estate. And I said, I think I am in real estate. Like, I'm touching all these houses. I'm turning 60, 70 houses a month for all these big companies. I think I'm in real estate. She's like, no. You're a slave to the people who own the real estate. And she said something, this is going to ring true with everybody else in this room. She says to me, you are a simple Google search away from being replaced. This is going to hurt. At least one person's not going to like this. You are as important to a real estate transaction as a real estate agent. You are a service provider, not the owner. You, my friend, are not in real estate. And she said, do you know what a mobile notary is? And I said, yeah, I think so. And she said, are they in real estate? And I go, no. She goes, why is a mobile notary not in real estate, but you are? Do either one of you own the real estate? I'm like, oh, damn. You are so right. Now, do you provide services to people that own real estate? Of course you do. But that means you're a service provider, which means we're trading time for money. Is that correct, guys? Okay, cool. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I still trade a lot of time for money. I've just figured out how to trade less of my time for a lot more money. And we'll talk about that today. Eileen Brown changed my life. She taught me how to get my first deal. My first deal was a wholesale deal. I had no idea what wholesale was. I didn't know what an assignment contract was. I had no idea. I had no idea the difference between title and escrow. I had no idea what a deed versus a title was. I had no clue about anything. I got a lead. This is what she told me to do, and I'll give you guys a very quick story about, you guys will see my logo. In fact, you'll see some people in my community wear this logo, and what this logo means, it actually came from my first deal that I did with Eileen. She teaches me how to go out and spend a bunch of money on postcards. And so I got inbound leads coming to me. They were like, we'll buy your house cash, right? And I get a call. I'm a contractor at the time, by the way. I get a call, and I'm like, hello? And like the seller on the other line, her name is Janie Munson. Janie says, yeah, is this Pace? You say you buy houses? I'm like, yeah, can I help you? Like, that's how inexperienced I was with real estate. Like, I'm paying money for leads, I had no idea what to say. So I would have to call Eileen Brown for every little thing I needed, to the point where like 3 weeks into working with her, she started calling me an asshole. Like, she'd like, you ask so many freaking questions, just shut up and take action. And she was a really good mother figure for me, but I get this lead from Janie. I go up to Janie's house. Janie's selling her house. It's, hadn't been renovated in almost 40 years. And I walk into her house, and she's got a counter full of real estate agent cards trying to get the listing. She's got a bunch of wholesalers. I didn't know they were wholesalers at the time, but a bunch of will buy your houses cash cards. And I asked her a question. I said, why haven't you sold your house? Like, why did you call me? And she said, well, I've got an offer at 165, and I'm retiring, and this is my last asset, and I need to sell, and I need to get a higher number. Well, very long story short, I could go into this long story, but I have a lot to teach you, so I'm not going to go into story mode. I want to get into technical, fun stuff today, okay? I basically was like, I'm going to leave because I can't help you. I can't offer anything over 165. And how did I know that? Well, because on my way to the appointment, I called Bethany, and I said, what should I offer for this house? She says, 150. Okay, dude, I don't even know what anything is. I've never even seen a purchase and sale agreement at this point in my life. And you're telling me I have to negotiate somebody who's a retiring school teacher from 165 to 150 for me to make money? Like, that's not my bag. That's not what I'm into, right? And so I told Janie the school teacher, I can't help you. And as I was walking out the house, I said, is there anything I can do to help you? You're trying to move, you're trying to retire to Oregon with your family. This is in Arizona. I have a contractor's business, and so I have crews and trucks and guys that will help you do whatever. Like, do you need somebody to box up your house? Yeah, she showed me 3 Flemish bunnies in her backyard. Okay, if you guys don't know, Google right now if you guys can get Mexico internet. A Flemish bunny is the size of a 5-year-old child, okay? Quite literally. And she had 3 of them in her backyard in these massive cages. She's like, they're costing me $600 a month. And I'm trying to retire. Like, how am I gonna retire and have to pay these bunnies? They came from her granddaughter. They came from a school fair. They thought they were regular freaking bunnies. And they ended up becoming like family. And so she was worried about what she was gonna do with these bunnies, right? You guys have all been in similar stories as real estate agents. You guys are running into weird situations all the time. So what happened with Janie is I said, dude, this is like easy for me. So I called my mom. And my mom drove up there in a truck I've literally never seen before in my life, and she took these 3 bunnies, gave Janie a hug, and left. It was like a 5-minute call, and my mom was like, Pace loved his school teachers, I'd do anything for my son, and da-da-da-da, and she takes these 3 bunnies, and she takes them and brings them to somebody in her church who has a big farm, and Janie's standing there like flabbergasted, like, and you're not even gonna give me an offer on my house? And I said, well, Janie, your offer's at $165. I could never touch that. So have a great day. Call me if you need something else. And I leave. And people are just not used to servitude, I don't think, in this day and age, right? They're always looking for, like, you're going to take advantage of me. Where's the get? You're going to get me, you know? So 2 weeks later, Janie calls me. And she says, hey, I did my homework like a good school teacher. And I researched everybody. And I took in offers. And today's the day I have to make a decision to sell my house. I go, cool, is like anything I can do to help? Do you need me to pack up boxes for you? And she says, no, I'm actually calling to tell you that I'm selling my house to you. I'm like, Janie, I didn't give you an offer. And I'm in my backyard pulling weeds, right? So she says, I met with 15 people before you and 15 people after you, and not one person asked me how they could help me. Every real estate agent came in and told me, what if the house is 40 years old and hasn't been renovated, what is an agent gonna typically say? This needs to be cleaned up, we gotta paint this, we gotta do this, da, 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 da. You're not thinking of creative solutions, right? You're not thinking of all these things. You're thinking about, I need to get the listing and I want this thing to sell fast, and I don't wanna be the reason why it's not selling because I should have told you this up front, because I've not told people this up front, and I've listed their house and it didn't freaking sell, and then I'm the bad person, right? We've all been there, right? Not me, I'm not an agent, sorry. So what ended up happening is I said, my offer is well below your 165. She says, I don't care what your price is. I trust you. Come up here and let's do it. And I was like, well, what's our next step? She goes, I guess we signed paperwork. So I called Bethany. And I said, hey, like, what does this look like? And Bethany went with me, sat in the appointment with me, and we bought the house for $150. And this is when I learned what wholesale was. We signed a contract at $150. And I was stressed out because the whole time I'm like, where the F am I coming up with the 150? Like, this is how inexperienced I was, right? So Bethany and I leave the appointment. We're in my truck and talking, and Bethany says, this was by far the most important lesson you'll ever learn in real estate. And I said, what? And she said, find the bunnies. Out of all the people that met with her, the only person that actually built her the trust and the rapport with her is the person that took the time to ask, what else can I do to help you, regardless of the situation? And you found her bunnies. And so in my community, our logo is the bunny ears, find the bunnies. So every single conversation we're in, we're like, what's the problem? How can I help? What is really going on? And some of these situations we'll talk about today, hopefully I have more than 46 minutes. Some of the situations we'll talk about today, I love context. If I don't have context, I have a really hard time doing something. So for me, if I'm buying, let's say, a $5 million RV park on seller finance with very little money down and the seller's gonna give me 4% interest, the first thing you're gonna ask is, why would he be selling a cash flowing RV park? Why would he trust you to do that? And why? Do you not start asking those questions? Why did the guy, I'll show you my Montana house today that I bought for $1 down payment. If you don't understand the context, it doesn't make any sense. In fact, it sounds like bullshit. But when you hear the context of why somebody was willing to give me their house at $150 versus $165, you go, okay, that makes sense. Okay, there's actually strategy in actually caring about people and understanding their situation. So I think the way I was able to get creative in my life was because I really genuinely love and care about people, and so I'm desperate to know what's actually going on when somebody's selling a house. Sometimes it's tax situations, right? We'll jump into that stuff. So here's what creative finance has given me, some cool stuff. I have a portfolio of a little over $500 million in real estate. That's a crazy number. It's hard for me to even say it still to this day. I have not used a bank loan one time. I've never pulled my credit one time, and I've never used my own money. That's stupid. Like, isn't that crazy? I know. It's crazy. And a lot of the stuff I'll teach you guys today will show you how I do this, and it'll make a lot of sense. And it is really crazy. So my portfolio is about 300 single-family homes, primarily in Arizona and 14 other markets. My average interest rate is a little under 3%. I also have 1,500 multifamily doors, so, units, little over 100, or I have my biggest unit is in Texas, 587 units. Bought it for $110 million. Isn't that crazy? Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. So I'll give you guys addresses today and some really good examples, and I'll tell you guys what you guys are missing. Because what I loved for the longest time, I actually loved agents' incompetence. I loved it. Because for the longest time, I just preyed on your expired listings. But then I'll teach you guys a really good lesson today of why I fell in love with working with real estate agents and why I'm on a mission to educate every agent on the planet, only in EXP, by the way. Because F everybody else, right? Okay. So that is really cool. That's cool to say, but it's kind of just weird. So again, no cash, no credit checks, no credentials. So by the way, what are credentials? Let's go back to that just real quick. What are credentials? So credentials would be the tax return. A lot of my clients don't even have a social security number or even an ITIN number, and I couldn't care any less. Sorry, if you're a patriot and you want to beat me up, you probably could. Let's be honest, there's a lot of strong dudes in here, okay? So I just want to help people, and I have a lot of creative solutions to be able to do that. When I do credentials, I mean tax return, okay? And in 2023, was the last time I actually checked my taxes. I think we have an extension for 2024, so I don't know. But I made millions and millions of dollars. I don't pay taxes, which is crazy. Why don't I pay taxes, agents? Cost segregation, depreciation, right? This is something that agents should be taking advantage of a lot more. You guys have the license to do this stuff, but you're not doing it as much as you should be. So I have not paid federal income taxes. I pay a lot of property taxes. I pay a lot of other taxes, but I don't pay federal income taxes in the last 9 years, which is incredible and a lot of fun. Okay, rule number 1 of making money, keep more of the money you make, okay? Okay, so here are my strategies. You guys can take a photo of this. I'll even give this to Brent. The number 1 thing I'm known for is subject to. And this is the easiest deal on the planet. I can go take over a single family home right now, any market. Here's what I would do. Simplest thing. By the way, I don't use the MLS, and I'll tell you why. The MLS is outdated. It's old school software. Real estate investors, our software is 1,000 times better than yours. 1,000 times better. Like quite literally, who uses investor software, not MLS software? It's 1,000 times better, is it not? Okay, so here's some things that I can do. I can find out who you're all in one page. Whereas if I'm in the MLS or I'm in tax records, it's really arduous. It's like, I got to go here to get this, and I got to get here, and it doesn't have the filter I want. I can go into real estate investor software. There's one, it's really stupid. This is kind of what investors do. We name stupid things. Deal Sauce is a company I use a lot, okay? Deal Sauce, like pour sauce on your deals. Like get saucy. And it's like $97 a month. I don't make any money from saying that at all, but that's what we use. So I can go into any one of your guys' markets, and within 30 seconds, I can pull multiple different types of lists. So if I want a sub-2 deal, which means I'm taking over somebody else's mortgage, okay, that's what a sub-2 deal is. Does anybody in here not understand what subject to is? I think my community and myself have done a really good job the last 5 years, really educating people on it. Anybody not quite understand it? What's your name? Okay, Chris. Let's do a seller finance and subject to example real quick, and then we'll move into some stuff, okay? Who has a phone in here that still has a payment on it? Like you make payments on your phone? Okay, cool. So you have a payment on your phone with like Verizon or AT&T or something? Who is it? Okay, AT&T. Perfect. So let's say you want to upgrade to another phone, and you go to Apple and you say, I want to buy a new phone. What do you do with that phone? You could trade it in for a discounted rate, or you could sell that to me. Could you sell that to me and let me just take over those payments? Technically, could I do that?
But if you don't pay this,
That's not what I'm asking you. Can I do it?
always.
Always, okay? So I can buy your phone subject to the existing payment, okay? By the way, have I bought phones on Creative Finance? Yes. I just bought a plane like 3 weeks ago on Creative Finance. I'll show you guys the plane today. You can buy anything with Creative Finance, anything. Now, the problem with a phone is that I could drop it in the water, I could lose it, and then the asset is gone and there's no collateral, right? Whereas real estate, can I just pick up the house and leave and be like, sorry? No, the asset is the value of that property, right? So what I do is if I want to find a sub-2 deal, here's the filter I use. I go to long days on market. Okay, that's you agents that are suffering at 100 days or more on market, and you're like, gosh, dang it, this seller thinks that open houses sell houses. Anybody have sellers like, why aren't you doing more open houses? And you're like, why? So I can find more buyers to buy other houses besides this one? So long days on market, for me, I also have a filter that I do 4% interest or less. Okay, that's the beautiful thing, is like 65% of all mortgages in the United States are around 4% or less. Okay, so I can do a filter long days on market. I prefer 100 days or more on market. Why? Because if I'm going on market, who am I communicating to? Am I going to call the seller directly? Who am I calling? I'm calling the agent. And do I want to bother an agent on day one of their listing? And those wholesalers and those people that call you on day one of your listing, I promise you they did learn from me. Sorry. On my YouTube channel, people are like, yeah, just get on the phone, make calls. And so those people calling you and offering and sending LOIs to you guys on your listings on day one, I don't like that strategy. I prefer to only bother you guys on day like 100 or more, okay? Because I want to give you ample time to sell to a retail buyer, because most of the time a retail buyer is the perfect fit for that client. They move on from the house, they get the number that the market says that house is worth, et cetera, right? Okay, so if I go 100 days on market, 4% or less, that's the cool thing about investor software, I can also look at the equity amount. And I can say, I want people to have 5% or less in equity. Now, let's do a little game here. I know that we all believe we know what equity is, but there's always one person in a room, even a really highly intelligent room, that gets this wrong. Equity, my friends, is not what we believe it is and what I was taught equity is. What is equity? Let's do a little test. If I have a house that I'm selling on the retail market for $400,000, I get an offer for $400,000, and my mortgage I owe to Bank of America is $360,000. Okay, I sell it for $400,000. My mortgage is $360,000. How much equity do I have? There's my guy right there. The answer is negative. I have negative equity, because equity is not the bullshit number that the spread, the delta. Equity is what I can put in my pocket after the listing is sold and we've closed escrow. That's equity. Equity is money I can spend. How dare I tell a seller that they have equity when they're going to have to write a check for $10,000 freaking dollars to sell this house? Okay, so what we find is right now, like in Maricopa County, I pulled this list this morning, okay? In Maricopa County right now, there's 900 homes that fit this criteria. About every 90 days, I get another 900 at-bats at this, which means they're on the market over 100 days, they're under 4% interest, and their equity is less than 5%. What is their option? Pay to sell the house. Have you guys ever been in that situation? Have you ever been in that situation where the seller doesn't have the cash to write? I'm your solution to that, okay? I pay your commission out of my pocket, I pay the closing costs out of my pocket, and I'll even pay the seller sometimes. I can tell when the seller doesn't have equity, so I know to negotiate not to give them any cash, but I'd say about 60% of my deals that I do, the seller receives no money, but the agent gets paid.
And the house is under the seller's name?
The house is under my name, but the mortgage is under the seller's name. That is correct.
Said that.
Oh, hell yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so rule number one of creative finance. We all write this down? Rule number one of creative finance. Never put your brain in the seller's head. Okay? If they were you, they'd go get a license and they'd sell their own damn house. Okay? They are not you, so don't make decisions for them. These people don't want to write a check for $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000 to get rid of their house. They're not in that situation. Okay? The other reason why people do this with us, by the way, do you know how many transactions we did last year and that exact thing that you don't think is possible? $20 billion in sub-2 transactions were done last year. Over 80% of them did not involve a real estate agent. Why is that? Because we're calling your expired listings. We are calling your expired listings. Because what happens with us is that, not that she has a bad attitude, she actually has a really good attitude. I love this girl, she's awesome, she's participating. But most agents are like, why would I even bring that to my seller? Well, because I know more than you do, Mr. Agent. I saw on my software, your client doesn't have equity, they have a 4% rate, and they're gonna have to write a check to sell the house at the price that it's currently listed at. I know that. I don't need to do a seller net listing sheet to figure that out. I can see that with my software. Before I even reach out to you, I know that you're 100 days on market, you're getting offers or not. A lot of people are having a hard time even getting offers right now. But imagine, do I care about the price of the home or do I care about the rate that the house has? I care about the rate, okay? So, yes, he sure can. He's rented. So, oh my gosh, I could spend 5 hours with you guys tonight. Okay, so I used to be a loan officer as well. If people want to hang out with me all night, I'll be here all night, just FYI. Some people like me, thank you. Some people like me, other people will fall asleep to me. So you pick your poison, whatever you're into. I had a feeling today, I was like, okay, the universe is conspiring to not let me come to this event. I was thinking there's probably 10 agents here that I'm gonna make $1 million with this year. And so the universe is like, do you really want it? Do you really want it? And so I tell the universe, I want it. I freaking want it. Okay, so great question. So how does a real estate investor, just forget about a seller, forget about your retail seller. How does a real estate investor buy more than one house? Okay, leverage, I love it. But if they have a loan and they go get a second loan, don't they have debt? Don't they have a debt to income ratio issue? Okay, so forget about the seller. You're telling me there's 14 million landlords in the United States that have over 5 mortgages in their name, but we can't get more than one mortgage? How do we do that? The way we do that is we go to our loan officer and we show them, hey, this house is being rented out. And what, my loan officers, where are we at? Do we remove the DTI or a big portion of it when we can show that it's being paid? Yes, we do. Oh, yeah, yes, we do. It's amazing. So I was a loan officer. We've done this over 400 times. I will waive 100% of the DTI off of a seller if it's going through a third-party loan processor. Or not loan processor, but a third-party servicer, loan servicer. So the company we use is Westar. You guys can write that down, Westar Loan Servicing. And Westar will work with the loan officers to prove and show that the payments are being made so they can go get a payment, okay? Most of my sellers actually are in the process of buying another house already. They've been credit worthy, but they've been told, sell your house so we can get it off your DTI. And I go, if I could just show you how to sell the house to me and get your DTI fixed with your new loan officer, would you sell it to me subject to? They go, yeah, but they said X, Y, and Z. I'm like, okay. If we lived our lives according to what they said, my friends, have you guys all done something in your life that somebody said, don't do this, and you did, and you're like, wow, that person's so dumb? EXP, there you go. Oh, hell yeah! My girl. Okay, so this one, what's another one? So especially for me now being a father of 4, I watched the struggle that my wife went through with when a doctor tells a woman X, Y, and Z, and the woman knows, like, I just don't feel right about that, so you get another opinion, and what does that doctor say? That doctor's a freaking idiot. Tell me that's not happened to you. All the women in here are like, yeah, that's me. Did he read my journal? Okay, so I stopped paying attention to people saying it couldn't be done a long time ago, okay? Now, so that's subject to. I take over your phone payments. I take over payments on something. That's subject to, okay? Really simple. Now, what's beautiful, no, I can get them a loan today. Yeah. If anybody, I'll give you my personal cell phone number. If you do one of these deals, I will personally walk you through how to do it. It takes about 14 minutes. And every loan officer that I worked with is like, nope, can't be done. I'm like, wrong answer. You just need to read 14 lines and you'll understand how to do it. Okay, so seller finance, it's pretty like, we know what seller finance is, right? The seller finances us, they give us a loan, we make them payments, okay, cool. Hybrid is a combination of those two. Executory contract, so where are my people that are like, due on sale clause? Where's the boogeymen people? Okay, if anybody ever tells you the due on sale clause, the way we overcome the due on sale clause for the people who just can't get past the due on sale clause is we do a contract for deed or a land contract. I'm not gonna talk about any of that today. I'm not gonna talk about lease options, novation agreements, partnership with the seller. I'm not gonna talk about Morby method. I'm not gonna talk about arbitrage. I'm not gonna talk about any of that stuff. None of it. Because I could literally spend 5 days with you, and I love this business so much. I have 5 stories of every one of those things. We don't have time for it. Okay, so this morning, literally 4 o'clock this morning, I made this presentation. By the way, we're 40 minutes in and I'm just getting to the presentation. Can you tell I love this business so much? Oh my gosh. Okay, so if I were a licensed real estate agent, these are the things that I would be doing to stand out, make way more money. Okay, number one, I would be doing expired listings the right way. Now, I know a lot of you guys, especially top performers, as real estate agents, one of my favorite things I hear from real estate agents is how long they've been with Coldwell Banker. You guys have all heard it too, right? I've been with Coldwell Banker for 19 years. How dare you tell me what seller finance is, right? The other thing I hear from agents is that they are referral based only. I only do referrals. Okay, cool, got it. This is not for you. This is for the agents that are like, I'm out getting more listings and I have a team that is also getting listings for me. Okay, that's for you. If you are calling expired listings, I will tell you how to do them the right way very quickly, okay? We'll go through that today. I also love working with non-qualified buyers. How many of you guys have non-qualified buyers in your database? You all do, and if you spent time working them, you would realize that they are 80% of the population. Okay, and my loan officers in here are like, yeah, you're right. Like, think about the people that do apply for loans because they actually have the confidence to think that they're gonna get a yes, and how many of those people actually get rejected for a loan is close to 60% for the type of house they're looking for. Am I right? Okay, so think about the people that don't even apply, but they have cash. They might be, sorry to say this, it might be sensitive, but we're in Cabo, so anything goes, right? I have people that are OnlyFans girls or like those types of people that have tons of cash. Are they bankable? They sure are not. How dare I rob them from their ability to get a home? I will help them. Sorry. Okay, can you think about other people that maybe have a hard time being qualified? Real estate agents. Every business owner I know is like, dude, I can't get a loan. Are you kidding me? I filed 0 on my taxes. How many of you guys are trying to file 0 on your taxes as much as humanly possible? And then as you're doing that, you're like, crap, but I'm not bankable. This sucks. Okay, then you're a non-qualified buyer. Perfect. You're a non-traditional buyer. I'll show you guys how to make a bunch of money with that. Wedge method is probably going to be your favorite thing that I talk about today. utopiahomes.us, you'll love that. That's going to be freaking cool. Hopefully we can get through all this stuff. Check this out. Most agents don't have a clue about this, but now you will. 300,000 expired listings flood the MLS each month. Okay? Each month. 300,000. That's crazy. And then we are told, what are we told? We have an inventory shortage. That's the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard as a real estate investor that chases expired listings. If people couldn't sell the house for 6 months and they fire the agent, is that an inventory problem? It's an affordability problem, right? And now I feel bad for the agent because the agent, sadly, when you're an agent, what are we trying to do? Sell houses, right? So when you have somebody that's interested in selling the house and they tell you this is my Zillow number, and you're like, freak, are you kidding me? If I fight with you on this and I got to take training, I got to go to Cabo and be in part of masterminds to learn how to negotiate with you to basically get you to just be reasonable on your listing price, right? Okay, cool. So what happens is a lot of those agents, you guys, everybody in here the answer is going to be yes in your mind. I won't have you raise your hand, but have you taken listings you know that it wasn't going to sell for that price? Okay, cool. And do I fault you for that? Heck no. I think you should shoot your shot. But those become expired. And I'm going to tell you guys how to shift it just a little bit of what my real estate agents that I work with do, okay? Okay, real estate agents hate to call these because they're competing against each other. Now, this is what was interesting. When my wife became an agent, I've never been an agent. I talk like I know a lot of stuff, but I'm not licensed, so take whatever I say with a grain of salt. My wife, when she got licensed, what does her broker tell her to go do? To go get listings. Call expired listings. Are we calling expired listings and nobody else is calling expired listings? Okay, so you're telling me that your broker, the reason why we call them brokers is because they're broker than you. I told you, I'm a stand-up comedian. Okay, so if my broker's best advice is to tell me to call expired listings, which essentially, as a non-licensed non-licensed investor, what do I hear when I hear that? I'm like, okay, so they just fired an agent. They already hate agents. And now I'm gonna call and say, I take better photos? Like, what is my value proposition? Well, now the only thing you can do, I think, is really attack the other agent. Like, oh, they didn't know what they were doing, X, Y, and Z, PDQ. That's not a fun feeling to attack people in our own industry. We want to lift each other up. And so what I find is that expired listings are really, really hard for agents to call on. It's my number one thing I do because here's my opening line. Hey, Mr. Seller, my name is Pace. I'm actually a buyer. I want to buy your house today. I'm a non-licensed real estate investor. I'm sure you're getting blown up by agents left and right. I'm actually wanting to buy your house today. Can I stop by and have a conversation about options that we could talk about? When was the last time that seller talked to an actual buyer? Never. You're competing against me when you are calling expired listings. And I wish it wasn't that way, but it is. Okay? And I'll teach you guys how to spin it around a little bit, okay? So, a couple of things I would do. Before you go on your listings, here's the number one thing I would do. Sorry for the people in the front row. They're like, I'm going to sit in the front row and get a good view, and then I'm walking all the way in the back. I'm sorry. Okay, so here's what I would do. I don't like being on the stage, by the way, because the feedback is bad, and then I can't look people in the eyes, and I really like connecting with people. So I'm sorry. Some people give me bad feedback about that. Okay, here's what I would do. First thing I would do is when I'm taking a listing, I would go into a listing with a real estate investor, 4 different offers. Okay, and what I would be telling every one of my sellers, I'd say, hey, 3 of these offers are not going to make sense to you today, but I want to let you know that I have real estate investors that are ready to buy your house for whatever price you're willing to give. Today. All these other people are going to ask is they're going to ask you to do seller finance or maybe take over your existing mortgage. Probably not a good fit for today, but I just want to let you know that's what makes me stand out. I have real estate investors that are willing to pay your retail price, the MLS price, if you're willing to take payments over time. Are your other real estate investors or agents walking into those listing appointments with that option? What are they doing? I have an amazing team. Look how I tucked my shirt in today. I honestly, guys, as a non-agent, I have no clue how you're standing out against other agents. Besides, in my mind, a bunch of bogus stuff. If you're not coming to that seller with more options, what are you doing? So what I would be doing is saying, here's what helps me stand apart. I have a guaranteed buyer today. Here's their price, here's their terms. I'll give you a seller finance, a sub-2 offer, and a lot of times I even have investors that'll give you a cash offer today, and none of these 3 offers will make sense to you today, but you never know. 3 months, 4 months, 5 months down the road, the market could change, and we want to go back to one of these investors. But I just want to let you know on day 1, I have 3 guaranteed offers right now. Now, the 4th one I actually want to talk to you about is what we're going to list it on retail for. So let's spend our time talking about that, but I just want to let you know I have these 3 other offers, okay? Now, is everybody all over the world here? All over the United States? Everybody's here all over the world, right? Okay, so if I gave you a list of investors, if I gave you a list of the top 500 investors in the world that are in your markets that will either A, text you right before you go on your listing appointments, or text your team, or they'll get in your CRM and they'll actually go into your CRM and give you the prices that they would pay on every single listing appointment, would that benefit you? Okay, I will do that for you and Brent Gove, okay? I will give you the top 500 people. These are personally my friends. I've done deals with them. I've loaned them money. They've loaned me money. I bought deals with them. I own apartment buildings with them. They are the top 500 people in the whole entire country. They're also in 29 other countries. I will give you guys that list. Brent will introduce that list to you guys. And what will happen is you or your team members will be able to use this list to go to your sellers, and the seller says, okay, well, why would I use you? Or maybe you even ask that question. Can I tell you why you would use me over any other agent? Because on day one, I'm going to bring buyers and offers to you that will give you the number that you think your house is worth. Now, it's going to come with some strings attached, but I just want to let you know I have a deep list of people that will buy this house, and I also just want the opportunity to go list it on the MLS and see what we could get. Is that a better value proposition than just saying I want to list your house? Okay, so that's what I would do on the front end to keep it from going expired. Okay, I would do that on the front end to keep it from going expired. Now, if I am calling, who calls expired listings here? Okay, holy moly, a lot of people. I was thinking very few. Okay, so you're calling expired listings. Are you calling or is your team calling? Okay, you do. What's your name? Shay, what up, Shay? Shaylin? Okay, Shay for short, cool. I kissed a girl in high school named Shay, just FYI. So Shay, you call them yourself. Okay, amazing. Would it be beneficial for you to say something along the lines, and I could do a Zoom with you and let everybody else watch this, and I could walk you through how I would call expired listings and how I teach my team how to call expired listings. But would it help you when you call the expired listing saying, hey, I am another agent, but I want to tell you what sets me apart. I have buyers that are ready to buy your house today. We don't even have to go on the MLS ever again. Would that be beneficial for you? Okay. That's how I would be doing expired listings completely different. Because what's happening is you're fighting an uphill slippery slope. They're already thinking, I just might as well sell this thing myself. They're already thinking FSBO. They're thinking, I'm going to take it off the market and rent it. They're thinking 1,000 other things that you've got to unravel. But if you say, I have an offer, full price of what you had it on the market for, can I stop by and have a conversation with you about it? Do you think that would help you close another deal every single month? Okay. Did I make you $100,000? Okay, cool. Shay, I'd love to, are you guys a team? Husband and wife. Well, you're a team then, right? Okay. Are you not on the real estate side?
I am, but I'm not the
Should we baptize him tonight, guys? You're getting baptized in the ocean, Bo. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, I love it. So, I love it. All my buddies that do land, I always tell them, like, you're the dirtiest person I know. Anyway, there's a lot of dirt jokes there. So, Shay, I'll give you and your husband my info. I'd love to set up a Zoom for anybody who wants to be in it, and I'll call expired listings with you and show you actually how to do it. Okay? Of course. Like I said, I freaking love this business, so I'd love to do it with you. Okay, is this helpful for you guys? Okay, so when you're calling expired listings, just think you're competing against people like me, and I'm using the fact that the house didn't sell as an advantage for me as the real estate investor. I will call the expired listing and point out the fact, man, another agent didn't sell another house, huh? That's what we're saying on the other end. It sucks. I actually prefer not to do it that way. You want me to tell you how I prefer to do it? Okay. Okay, so I'll give you the list. By the way, I made this today. I've never given that list to anybody, ever, one time. Okay, here's what a good buyer will do for you. Okay, somebody like me, here's what I can do for you. This is how I can empower your business. Okay, I can't speak Spanish. I'm sorry. Are most of your clients Spanish speaking? I can't help you, I'm so sorry. But I have Spanish buyers. Where do you live? Where are you at? I freaking love Baltimore. Of course I do. Yeah, the DMV. I love the DMV. It's freaking amazing. So I probably like 15 of my buyers are in the DMV area, and one of them speaks Russian, a couple of them speak Spanish, so they can help you with this kind of stuff. Okay, so they'll give you a cash offer. The cash offer is going to be beneficial on every single listing appointment? No, unless you spin it properly. Unless you say, hey, this cash offer is not going to be anywhere where we want to be. I just want to let you know that I come to the table with tools versus other real estate agents just want to list your house on the MLS and they have zero tools besides the MLS. Okay? We can give sub 2 offers, we can give seller finance. We pay your commissions. By the way, when we buy your deals, the seller does not pay your commissions. How nice is that to not have another conversation with another agent, be like, all right, so whose commissions are getting paid here and who's gonna pay them and the whole NAR thing and blah. That did not affect me in the slightest. What's that? Yeah, I'll pay your 3%, yeah. That's my favorite agent to work with, by the way, is the agent that thinks 3% is enough money for them. Okay, by the way, going into my next point, giving you equity on deals. That's gonna be your favorite part of the presentation today, okay? Stop foreclosures. Oh my gosh, you know how many people, you guys ever get calls from people that are like going in foreclosure, they're gonna lose their house tomorrow, and they're like, can you stop my foreclosure? Yeah. Guess who can stop all those foreclosures? All of my 500 investors can stop 100% of those foreclosures and give you guys 90 more days to list those houses, okay? Yeah, you're a gangster. You and me, girl. Okay, close without appraisals or inspections. Most of the stuff that I buy, I don't need an appraisal, okay? I don't need an appraisal. I don't go through banks, so I don't have to go through all that crap. How much do you guys love going through here? Like, you get something under contract, and now you're just praying every night, like, please appraise, inspection, right? Okay. I give a lot of agents loans. Okay, and here's a couple of examples. Do you guys ever get sellers that need to close on a house right now while they're still waiting for another house to close, and they just need money for like 3 freaking days? My 500 buyers can give you guys endless access to capital to be able to help your sellers close on a house, to give them an extra week or 2 weeks so that the deals don't blow up. You ever feel like you're between a tug of war between 2 deals closing? Okay, we can do that. We also do all sorts of cool things with foreclosures. We don't have time for that, sadly. I can be your backup buyer for all your deals, which is great. Cool. Here we go. This house is one of 1,000 examples, but it was the first house that popped up on my brain this morning as I built this presentation. Okay, this house is 4101 West Flower Street. I'm going to tell you guys a story of a typical experience I have with real estate agents, but not EXP agents. I've never had this experience with an EXP agent. Okay, not one time. Okay. So here's what we do. Remember that list that we're pulling, right, guys? I don't know how to do it on MLS. You guys might know how to do it on MLS. I don't know how. I go on Deal Sauce and I pull the list, 100 days plus on market, 4% interest, 5 to 10% equity, that's it. So I know they're in pain. Now, I knew this one was a really good deal because this one has a 2.8% VA loan attached to it. And we call the agent. This is what we do. We don't want to talk to agents a lot because you know what we've learned about agents, most of them? They actually don't pick up the phone. And a big part of that is because I think a lot of agents are like undercover agents. They're not full-timing it. And then the ones that are full-timing it are freaking slammed with phone calls because that's your job. You're on the phone, right? So what we do is the initial point of contact is we send out an LOI, okay? Anybody in here not know what an LOI is? A lot of residential people are like, we don't use LOIs. Why are you doing that? Yeah, letter of intent. It's like, is it a George Strait song? Do you love me? Do you like me? Do you want to be my friend? Do you guys, what's that song? Check yes or no. That letter you pass a girl in like school, like, hey, do you like me? Do you love me? That's an LOI. It's like, I'm not going to ask you on a date. We're not going to go like full commitment until I know you like me. So I'm going to send you a letter of intent. Tell me yes, and then we'll go into a contract, right? So what we do is we'll email all of these agents on these listings a letter of intent. We give them a cash offer and a sub 2 offer, okay? And then what we do is we interact with them via email. We set up phone calls. We have conversations. This girl, her name's Stephanie. Stephanie sent a really scathing, angry email. Stop bothering me, you stupid investors. We get that stuff too. I call those breadcrumbs. Okay, the more breadcrumbs I follow, the closer I get to, I'm like Hansel and Gretel. I'm just going to follow the breadcrumbs, right? You wouldn't, because that's carbs, bro. You can't have carbs. Okay, so Stephanie, I actually got on the phone call with Stephanie because I was doing a training for my team. And my team was like, this lady's really angry. What do we do with these leads? Do we just throw them away? I was like, no, those are the best ones. Call her. What do I say? Let me do it, dude. I'll just call her. So I call Stephanie. I said, hey, Stephanie, just calling about the offer that we sent over to you. Want to know, what can we do to change your mind? Looks like this seller really has no equity. She hangs up on me. I call back from a different number because I mean I will do mean things. I call from a different number, and Stephanie, it's me again, don't hang up. I want to do a deal with you. And I bring up subject to. She says, my client would never do subject to. Cool. Okay, no problem. Do you mind if I follow up with you in 20 days? I'll just put you in my CRM and I'll follow up with you in 20 days. Don't follow up with me. Cool. I'll follow up with you, Stephanie. I'll call you in 20 days. Now, what's cool about being non-licensed is I have nobody regulating me. So I can be mean and nobody's going to call my broker. And I can tease. I have 12 kids in my family, so I know how to tease really good. So 20 days later, so this is our cadence, okay? This is our cadence. So we call on day 100. If the answer is no, we call on day 120. If the answer is no, we call when? Day 140. And then we call when? 160. And then we call on doomsday, right? The day that they're about to get fired. And the closer they get to that expired, they're going to get let go of, the more willing they are to have the conversation. What we found is most of the time when a seller doesn't want to do a sub-2 or seller finance deal, it's the agent not knowing how to just be honest and say, I have no idea how to do sub-2 or seller finance, and I'd rather just tell you that my seller doesn't want to do it. Okay, this is what we've just learned in the industry. So I'm polite and I work with the agent, okay? And I call her on day 179 or 180, and my whole team is around, and I was like, today's the day, guys. Watch. She's going to say yes. What does she say? Click. I've told you, stop calling me. So who do I call on day 181? I call the seller. Hey, Bob, my name is Pace. I'm a buyer, and I'm just calling to see what you didn't like about my offer. Okay, but this gets even better, okay? Can you tell, you can tell I will tease you, but I'm not a dick, right? I'll tease you, but like, I want to be your homie. I want to be your friend. So, Bob, what does Bob say? What offer? What offer? So we end up doing a sub-2 deal with him. He paid me $5,000 to take this house off his hands. And I'll give you the context of why that is. Okay? Because context is important, right? By the way, do we have a class after this that I got to worry about? No. Are we cool if I go a little bit long? Yeah. Okay. I have no idea. It's like you got 8 minutes. This story's going to take 2. So, okay, so when I talk to Bob, and by the way, I put this whole conversation on my YouTube channel because I want to teach people for free how to do this, because the more people know how to do this, the more people make money together. Real estate's like the coolest sport ever. It is, the more people doing it, the more we all make money. Especially in the investor world. A lot of us make money together. Agents, I don't think it's quite that much, because you guys, like, who's going to get the listing, right? In investor world, it's like, dude, let's split the deal. Let's do the deal, you know? Anyway, so I'm talking to Bob, and I say, Bob, what's going on? Like, what happened? Why didn't the house sell? And he goes, well, Stephanie told me that she could sell the house in blank days. How many days does a typical agent tell him? 60 days. We hear that all the time. Bob says, well, she said I could sell the house in 60 days, so I moved out of the house. Okay, cool. Why'd you move out of the house? Where'd you move? He goes, well, I fell in love with this girl. I'm like, bro, it's always a girl. So he falls in love with a girl. She says, hey, why don't you just come move in with me and sell your house? Like, we're falling in love. Let's just live together. So he decides what it meant. Like, that's such a stupid thing for men to do, but we're all going to do it. So he lists the property, and he goes, man, I don't want to be here. I want to be with the woman I'm making out with every single day. I want to be with her. So he moves out, and now what has he got? He's got an empty house with a what? A mortgage payment. So after 6 months of not selling the house, why? Because it's a VA loan. How much money did he put down on a VA loan? $0. He bought it in 2022. I bought it in 2023. Does he have any equity? But he's got a 2.9% interest rate. So he says to me, he goes, well, she brought me offers, but every offer, I had to write a check for 30 or 40 grand to get rid of the house. And by the way, guys, there's dozens of deals I do every single year this way, just in Maricopa County. Okay, just my little county, dozens of deals. And he says, so when I give him my offer, he goes, so how much money do I have to pay you? Okay, so here's the difference. The difference is, your thought is, why would my seller do that? My thing is, why would a seller not?
Because how the seller is sure that you're going to pay the mortgage payment.
Okay, perfect. That's a great conversation. We can talk about that another day, but I'll give you a really short answer. They don't. They don't know. Her question is, she said in Spanish, I'll translate it. She said in English, I'm just kidding. She said, well, how do we know, how does the seller know you're gonna make the payment? They don't. Yep, they take the house back, they take any money that I paid towards the mortgage, they take all that stuff back. There's definitely risk, right? There's 100% risk. There you go. There's a couple of things. So I tell the seller all the time, I'm like, let's pretend I get abducted by an alien and I can't make the payments anymore. You get the house back. Okay, so worst case scenario. No, the deed is under my name, the mortgage is in his name, and we do a deed in lieu and he takes the deed back. Yeah, and it's all set, the paperwork is all set up. I wish I had time to talk about the paperwork with you guys today. We could do a whole workshop on just the paperwork. You guys want to come back to Cabo next week? We'll do a whole workshop on paperwork. Okay. The paperwork, what's funny is, so I love this business so much that like 8 years ago I said, I want to standardize these contracts nationwide. And me and my team of 50 people, we standardize all these contracts in all 50 states and Puerto Rico and Canada and Mexico. And we've done it in 29 states, or 29 countries. We've standardized the paperwork. How does the seller get the house back if there's a default? They get it back 5 days before there is a default. Different conversation, different day. But there is a very easy way for them to get the house back. Okay, so when I worked with Bob, I took over the house, he wrote me a check for $5,000 and he paid closing costs, okay? What did I do with the house? Okay, I could do a couple things. So let's talk about why this business is so fun. What are things I could do with this house now that I have control of it? I could renovate it, but if I renovate it, that means I'm going to put it on the retail market, but it already didn't sell retail, so there's no meat on the bone, right? So I wouldn't do a flip. What's another thing I could do? I could do short-term rental, but I'm sorry, people in here that are short-term rental people, short-term rentals suck so hard. Unless you're like in the Smoky Mountains or like some like exceptional location, right? Are you in the Smoky Mountains? Okay. The number one thing that's taken over the country right now in terms of exit strategies, do you guys know what it is? Exit strategy meaning what do I do with the house once I buy the house? Co-living. Number one thing is co-living. Some people don't know what co-living is. Can I teach you what co-living is real quick? Okay, there's a website, write this down. I don't have this in my notes or in my presentation, but padsplit.com. Okay, it's where real estate investors like me buy a single family house like this. This is a 4-bed, 2-bath. I turn it into an 8-bed, 2-bath. How do I do that? I get rid of the dining room, get rid of the living room, and we rent out by the room. It's like kind of like college dorm rooms, but for adults. Now, what you'll do immediately, because again, we will put our brain in somebody else's head. We'll go, ooh, who wants to do that? Millions of people. And they're good quality people. In fact, I was teaching a class at my local RIA like 3 years ago, and this guy stands up, he's like, you're freaking turning our neighborhoods full of shitty people, blah, 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 blah. And a lady stands up in the audience, she's a nurse, very obvious from her scrubs, and she says, I live in a co-living house, and I make $112,000 a year, and everybody in that house are also nurses trying to pay off their student loan debts. We are not shitty people, okay? So co-living is unbelievable because you can rent out by the room, and I can take a house that would normally cash flow like, it would rent for like $2,500. I'll give you this house as a really good example. So this house, I would be able to rent this house for $2,500 a month in Phoenix. I rent it on co-living for $8,000 a month, okay? So it's a little over $1,000 a month per bedroom. That's all utilities included, their rent, that's internet included, cleaning once a week, and landscaping all included for basically $1,000 a month. It's really hard to find $1,000 a month in this country, is it not? And so what's happening is real estate investors are way ahead of this. There's already been co-living companies that have gone public, multi-billion dollar exits, IPOs. That's how popular this is. The problem is it hasn't hit the real estate agents' doorsteps yet. It's very popular, okay? So I want to tell you something. So Stephanie, I bought this deal from Bob directly, right? Did Stephanie get paid on this deal? Incorrect, because I am like a big brother. I will tease you to the death. So what I did is I put $2,500 at my title company in a cashier's check in her name, and I sent her a photo, and I said, this check, I sent her a photo, I said, hey, Stephanie, remember the house with Bob? I bought it, and there's $2,500 at title waiting for you. But why did I do this? Why did I do this? Because I'm smart. Okay? Okay. So this is the cool part, and this will get into my next part of the training, okay? So she replies back, she's like, who is this? And I sent her a voice memo, and 30 seconds, I was like, hey, Stephanie, I'm the guy that bought it, blah, 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 and I just want to let you know, I want to do more deals with you. So next time you find a Bob or an expired listing, bring it to me, and I'll pay you that $2,500. So what I did is I didn't release the $2,500 to her until she brought me the next deal. Do you know how many deals we've done together? 21. Her and I have done 21 deals together, and she owns 15 of those houses with me. Okay, so I want to tell you guys this is what you're missing. Okay, we're going and we're chasing after 3% commission. I would never in my life work for 3% commissions, because once you see it, you just can't forget it. Okay, what would you rather have? Now, I'm not saying I don't pay my agents up front as well. I'm just saying you have a lot more leverage than I think you believe you do. You have a lot more value than I believe you think you do. Okay, so with Stephanie. This is, hold on, let me see if I'm going, okay, hold on, I'll get to this. Sorry, I made this morning at 4 a.m. This is specifically for you guys, okay? Okay, so what did Stephanie and I do? We did what I call the wedge method, okay? And I'll get into the wedge method in a little bit for like larger assets as well. They zeroed out my time, which is great. This is perfect. Am I okay to keep going a little bit longer? Okay. Can you guys give me a timer for like 20 minutes? Because I just want to at least know how many times I go over 20 minutes. Okay, so here's what Stephanie and I did, okay? And this is what my 500 buyers will do for you as well. You bring me houses that you can't sell, expired listings that just need a sub-2 or seller finance offer. I will buy those deals, and what I did with Stephanie is I said, first one, I give you 5% equity on, and your commission. Second one, 5% equity. Third one, 5% equity. All the way to the fifth one, and when you get to the fifth one, I'll retroactively give you 10% on all 5. And when you get to 10 houses, I'll retroactively go 15 backwards on all 10 houses. And I'll keep you at 15% every single time. And by the way, Stephanie, I'll pay your commissions. Do you see the value that you have? I make so much money from owning these houses. Way, 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 way beyond cash flow. Cash flow is for children. I want you guys to write that down. Cash flow is for children. No real estate investor buying single-family homes is trying to get rich off cash flow. Cash flow pays our bills and makes sure that our vacancy and all that kind of stuff. Where do we make our money? We make our money off not paying taxes, okay? Depreciation, what's that? Equity growth, so what's happening? Who's paying down the debt that I took over on this house? Am I paying it off or the tenants? Okay, leverage, right? So you've got, and this is an interesting number, you guys know that 37% of every human being's, does anybody tell you who you look like? Clueless. Right? What's Clueless's name? Alicia Silverstone. Are you her? Because she's been cranking that EXP, bro. Okay, so on this deal, yes, I make cash flow, and that's nice. Stephanie gets 15% of my cash flow, so she gets about $300 a month on this house, which is cool. But where does she really make the most money? The appreciation of the property. Okay, so let's think about this. In Phoenix, Arizona, our average appreciation is about 8%. Okay, that's historic. That's not just the last 10 years. Somebody's gonna say, no, that's historic. And that's compounding. So if our average purchase price in Phoenix, Arizona is $430,000 and we appreciate 9% this year, we're making roughly $40,000. She gets 15% of that every year. And that adds up. And now when you've got 10 houses and 15 houses, it's pretty quick. You can become a millionaire as an agent just by bringing deals to people like me. And these are deals that other agents are throwing away. How many expired listings are in the United States every single month? 300,000. And we're buying them. And here's what I would suggest you guys do. If you guys are calling on expired listings, what's your name? Not Shay, but you. Steven? Okay, even Stevens. Here's what I would do. On your expired listings list, I don't know if you have software, you could do this with ChatGPT, or you could do something. It would be really cool to go, let me pull every expired listing in my market, and let me track what happens to those expired listings over the next 12 months. You know what you're gonna find? About 30% of them go to real estate investors without an agent. 30%. I would prefer you bring them to me rather than me have to call them without you. Does that make sense? I'm paying somebody. I'm gonna pay my commission to my sales guys, or I'm gonna pay you. I'd prefer to have you, Steven. What market do you live in? Denver. Only Angie and Dom Milanazzo buy 30 or 40 of these every single month. I'll put you directly in touch with them, okay? So you guys should be wedging yourself into deals with real estate investors like me. I wanna pay your commissions plus make you an owner. Because you know what ownership does for you? It's actually like really diabolical. You are now never gonna do a deal with another real estate investor besides me. Am I wrong? Do you guys see why I'm doing that? I'm building loyalty through actually paying you what you're worth, and you're never gonna go anywhere else. Yes, go ahead.
Do we disclose that though?
You?
Do I disclose that?
Okay, this is an interesting conversation, okay? So these are problems that I don't have in my world.
Yeah.
I don't need to disclose anything to anybody. In fact, if somebody asks me a question, I go, what? Okay, so for you, if you're calling, let's say you're calling expired listings, and you are a licensed real estate agent, you have a choice, right? This is a difference of personality types, because I'll talk to one agent, and they go, my broker won't let me do that. I'm like, switch brokers. Like, what are you doing? Or they're like, okay, cool, yeah, I can figure this out, right? So you're the figure it out type, which is why you're asking the question. Some agents will want to get the listing and then sell it to me, and then I pay their commissions through a retail transaction. We go through title and escrow and all that kind of stuff, and then I have an operating agreement. I give them a percentage, and they disclose, hey, I'm bringing this to my buyer. Other agents that I work with go, I'm just gonna call the buyer directly and go, I represent a buyer, I'm not representing you. You're not representing them. You're representing me. And so that seller in those situations goes unrepresented. And I end up doing all the paperwork. My TC takes over the whole thing. You really don't have much to do with it other than the phone call.
Got it.
Okay? That's a personality thing for you.
Yes.
Because some agents are like afraid of their own shadow. Other agents are like, bro, I have no shadow. Right? Which one are you? You're like, I'm gonna do whatever.
Well, I'm thinking of two right now.
Hell yeah. What market are you in?
I'm in California,
I'm sorry.
and my specialty. No.
I'm just kidding. California's great.
My specialty is probate. So
Oh, I love probate.
I'm-
I got a lot of dead body stories with probate.
me too.
I would say like the craziest stuff happens in foreclosure, then probate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got a couple probate things.
Right. So I'm just thinking about the legalities because a lot of people are looking.
Can I help you? Can I get involved in them?
Sure.
What market?
I mean, I'm thinking how you can.
I'll show you how I can.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to give everybody my cell phone number. You have my cell phone number.
Show you the same thing. I'm in Austin. Read that last text. That's from 2 hours ago.
Okay, this is me, dude, all day long. Yeah, send her a picture of me like flexing, be like, this guy can do it. Say I have.
These also
Okay, cool.
in Austin, Texas. North of 100 days, 5 to 10% equity, 4% one's a VA.
Okay, so here's what I'll do. I don't know if Brent's in here. I want to give permission. Can I give you guys my email? Brent's in here. The problem is for a living, not for a living. I speak for people like Brent for free, but my phone is in my back pocket all the time, and the ringer's off. And so in the agent world, if you have my cell phone number, it means that you think I'm going to reply. I will reply, but sometimes it takes me 2 days. So I would prefer to give you my email, not because I don't want you guys to text me, but when you get a deal, I'll get on the phone with you. Let me give you my email, okay? This is my personal email that nobody else but me checks, okay? pacejmorby@me.com. That's PACEJMORBY @me.com. And let's work those deals. Steve, I'd love to help you with Misty. That'd be great. I'm buying a mobile home park in Austin right now. I'd love to do a deal. Yes. Thank you. Bro. Yes. Seriously? Okay, you have my email?
Yes.
Okay, so get me involved in those deals. I don't buy in California unless it's an RV park or a mobile home park. but I will help you through that, and I'll put you in touch with a buyer that will buy it, and I'll walk you through how to represent and not represent.
Got it.
And everything I do is legal.
Yes.
I have a full-time attorney on staff. I do everything right.
Okay.
I also own a title company nationwide. Like, I'm obsessed with doing things the right way. I know I talk a lot of crap just to be entertaining, but I own a title company in 43 states, so I know what I'm doing. Yes?
When does the seller actually get their money?
In what situation? Sometimes, like in this situation, this seller would never get any money. He has a debt. Her question is, when does the seller get paid on that house? The seller has a debt that is too great for them to handle. They have no money, right? In this particular situation, the seller was actually going to write a check for 30 grand to sell the house to the real estate agent. He didn't have the 30 grand. So it's kind of like Misty, right? Steven's got a seller in Austin right now named Misty who's saying, Steve, help me. I can't afford to make another payment. Is she sitting in a situation where she has a ton of equity? Probably. Not really, right? So in those situations, sometimes sellers do have like $30,000, $40,000 in equity, and I don't want to give it to them right away. So I'll give them like $5,000 to move on, and then I'll do a balloon in like 24 months, and I'll write them a check for 25 grand. Every situation is uniquely different. Great question. Yeah, go ahead. Stand up. People need to see that beard. I can take over all those loans subject to, all of them, every one of them. What market are you working? I love Richmond, Virginia, bro. I love Richmond. Amazing, yeah. Happy to help you. Send me an email. I'll get on a phone call with you. I'll work through some of that stuff with you. And I'll get on a Zoom and I'll show you. Like, I will do anything for Brent Gove. Anything for Brent Gove. So if this helps you and your guys' organization, what I would do is I would love to go through those with you and invite anybody else to that Zoom so they can learn from it as well, if that's cool. Yes, you can. Stand up. Does that say Montana on your house? Oh, La Quinta. Okay, got it.
You don't like California, but you need your other people on your
Yeah, I'm teasing. I don't buy single family. I don't buy single family rentals in California for pretty obvious reasons. Your guys' government is shit. But yes, I have a lot of people in California. What town are you in? Oh, Central California. Okay, is it La Quinta? Is that where that is? Anybody that's not from California, we know San Diego, LA, San Francisco. I'm going to Fresno in like 5 weeks. Are you guys in Fresno? Come hang out with me. I'm doing a big meetup there in Fresno. Okay, so yes. I'll put you in touch with my buyers. I have buyers everywhere, and they're all as good and maybe even better than I am at a lot of stuff. Okay?
But they're not buyers.
They're buyers.
I mean, pretend buyers. You know,
No, they're real.
buyer.
No, they're real.
Investors and everyone does.
No, they're real buyers.
Legit people that you work with.
So I have a lot of people in my community. These are like the top 500 people that are my personal friends. These are not just fake people, yeah. Yes, sir.
I'm in the Phoenix area. in
Oh my
the-
gosh.
in the senior market,
I love it.
and I got a call from a client that says, what can you do to help me? They're buying 3-bedroom houses on cul-de-sacs, and they're adding 2 or 3 bedrooms, taking out the dining room and putting assisted living or independent living.
Love it.
With a nurse.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what's wrong?
Do they need unlimited housing? Is that do they need more houses? Is that what you're asking me?
No, well, no, they want to know, they think it's bad for their neighborhood because it's all single-family homes and now they're having multiple occupancy.
Okay, so the challenge with me, I'm trying to, like, when I'm doing, you're talking about the Golden Girls model is what we call it. So you have co-living for like the youth, and you have the Golden Girl model for the elderly, right? People that are like, maybe their husband passed away, but they're super mobile. They can do a cartwheel and like kick you in the throat. But they're like, I'm not going to pay $6,000 a month to live in assisted living. That's not where I want to go. I'll go to a co-living model with other like elderly ladies. That model is awesome and it's taking off. So you have a client that's building those. Is that correct?
They live near it and they think it's
Oh,
bad.
yeah. I see. Yeah, if they're in an HOA, I would say it is bad. I don't do any co-living stuff in HOAs. I would never violate all that kind of stuff.
Just single-family homes.
Oh, if they're not in an HOA, tell them to move to an HOA and stop complaining. I mean, I hate to say that, but that's the truth. That's the reason HOAs exist. And if people don't like it, I got neighbors that walk naked in the backyard. There's not a lot I can do about it. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir.
My transaction coordinator is doing alcohol, like for vets, rehab stuff for up to a year, which is exactly like what you described, $1,000 a room. And it's for veterans, and that stuff's taken off too. She's in Minnesota.
Yeah, those are huge. Who's your TC?
Jordan Holston is her name.
Okay, cool. So I have one of my best TCs is in Minnesota. Her name is Darina Alexa. And yeah, I don't do sober living. I sublease to sober living. So I'll buy a property, and I don't want to deal with sober living like all the rigmarole with it. So I'll sublease to a sober living facility, and they'll rent it from my property from me. But that is an amazing model. But again, I stay away from HOAs as much as I possibly can. Okay, cool. You're her husband?
Yes. No, I'm kidding.
You're not?
I'm in business.
You're in her business. Okay, you've never heard this before? You are her. You are her. I swear to God, you are her. I mean, is she not? This is why you haven't been in a movie in 15 years. Okay, cool. All right, so I wish I could talk about this a lot longer. This is one of my favorite parts of the business, especially with Hispanic buyers. My Hispanic buyers are my favorite people because what happens is they don't trust the banks. They stuff money in their mattresses, and you know what they do? They're the hardest workers ever. You guys ever hear that? You see that meme about the Egyptian pyramids? Or like, we went thousands of years wondering how the Egyptians built this, but we look at the Mayan pyramids. We have no question on who built these. It was the Mexicans. They're the best. Okay, so non-qualified, a lot. I'd probably say 40% of my buyers are Hispanic in Phoenix. And what they do is they're plumbers, they're electricians, they're landscapers, and they get paid cash. Or they don't. Sometimes it's even reported they just don't trust the banks. So what they're doing, this is a big rampant problem in Phoenix. Who else lives in a heavy Hispanic area? Okay, so I'll tell you what the Hispanic population is doing nationwide that will blow your freaking mind. And some of you guys will say, yeah, I know they do this. And other people are like, what? They buy their houses with hard money. And they will go get 12% freaking interest to buy their family a home. And it's interest only. And so they're planning on the appreciation to outpace the rate that they're paying, and a lot of times it works out. What I'm doing for them is I'm taking houses just like that. Here, I actually have a bunch of them. Check it out. You know how many non-qualified buyers I have on my database? More than I can shake a stick at. So if you have my email. If you ever have a buyer, I don't care if it's a $300,000 house or a $5 million house. I do not care. If you want a buyer that's like, I want to avoid banks and put less than 10% down, I'm the guy. I've got a house somewhere in a zip code that they can buy a house from me, and they're incredible houses. So don't ever, when you have somebody's like, they're not qualified, perfect. You can make just as much money not showing them a house. Okay, just bring them to me and I'll get you paid. Okay, these are the kind of houses that I have. 3.1%, all over the country. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of houses that are 3%, 4%, 5.1%, whatever, 2.4% interest rates that I will help your non-qualified. Yes, sir. Yeah, like they need a heartbeat. No, we need a proof of income. We need to make sure that they are actually making income. Like if they file bankruptcy yesterday, I'll still qualify them. Who's the bank, by the way? I'm the bank. Right, so I'm the one that determines the qualifications. The main thing for us, I need to verify 3 months of income, and I need to make sure that you actually have the ability to. Yes, sir. I love Ohio. Yeah, yeah. I love everywhere. Guys, literally, if this part alone does not change your entire business, think about this. How many non-qualified buyers actually think about this? Where are my agents that actually use social media? Okay. Let's say you and I do a deal together. What's your name? Jerry Davis. Hell yeah, bro. My best friend's name is Jerry, so. Oh, Jared. Shit. Okay, so Jared Davis. So Jared, let's say you and I do a deal together. You go on your Instagram stories, you go on Instagram Reels, and you talk about how you just helped a non-qualified buyer get this house at 3%. Everybody's coming to you. From one post. Okay, one freaking post. Take a screenshot of my website. Send me an email. Everybody in here should send me an email, and I'll. What's your name right there? Yes, you. Yeah. Arthur, this whole time you've looked at me like you're suspect of everything I have to say. Is anybody friends with Arthur here? Okay. Does he just have? Okay, he's locked in. Okay, cool. Okay, send me an email, and what I'll do is I'll give you a link to my site where I have houses. Okay, I'll also give you a connection to my buyers, and then if you guys have weird deals, I'll work through them with you. Don't be mad if my team works with you. I have a Jade, a Shelly, a Kelly, an Ashley. I have a lot of awesome women that basically run my company. They're better than me at a lot of things, but I will help you through all this stuff. If you have a non-qualified buyer, let's get them a house this week. How much what? Anywhere between like 4 to 6%, somewhere in there. Yeah. Dude, I'm trying to help people.
Thank you.
Of course, yeah. You know how I make money on these?
Yes.
I mean, like a lot of different ways, but one of the biggest ways I make money as the investor is I do what's called a silent second. There's no reason for you even to know that, but I just love to talk, so I might as well tell you. So this house right here that I bought on Ash Street, I took over the existing house, subject to. There was tenants in the property. I come in, clean up the property, and I turn around and I sell it to a family. What I do is I look at my cost basis, right? I'm like, okay, I took over the mortgage at $400. I put $40 into it, and what I do is I just add like $60,000 to it, and that $60,000, I let them pay me back in 15 years. No payment, no interest on that $60,000. I just create $60,000 out of thin air, and it comes to me in 15 years. Sometimes it comes to me in 3 years. Sometimes it comes to me in 4. Does that make sense?
How often are you selling paper versus just
I don't sell paper. That's for old people. And I actually look forward to getting to that phase. I'm not to that phase yet. It's like very much a like I want to be hands off type of thing, and I'm not quite to that phase. It's for older people that are like I'm chilling, right? Yes, sir. Yeah, could I arbitrage way higher? Could I be at 8 and 9% for a non-qualified buyer? I sure can, but we're usually adding like 1% on top of it. We're very reasonable. We want houses to be affordable. Because we find out, it's got, going back to her question, what's your name, by the way? Carmen. Of course it is. That's the cutest name ever. Okay, so Carmen, I said that wrong. I said it like a white boy. She says Carmen. I said Carmen. That's so bad. Okay, so Carmen, she had a good question earlier. She said, well, what if you stop making the payments? Well, the best way to make sure that your seller is at a low risk of somebody like me taking over the payments is making sure I'm getting a good deal, right? If I'm getting a bad deal, you better be afraid that I'm going to default on that house, right? Same thing with our tenants or our lease option buyers or our wrap buyers or whatever we want to call them, our non-qualified buyers. If I give you a 9% rate, the likelihood of you sticking it out is pretty low. I've done all the math, and at the end of the day, we just want to help people. And you get paid in the process, which is cool. Okay, so these are the kind of houses. We have a lot of these. That's the screenshot of the new build when it was built. Like a lot of these houses are brand new. Okay. Yes, sir. I love New Hampshire. I was just up in New Hampshire. I just did a meetup in New Hampshire. Yeah, I have a gangster investor up there named Justin Tumanowski. He does New England. And I have like 18 other people. I was just texting with Janice, one of my big buyers up there as well. She's got millions and millions and millions of dollars to deploy. She'd love to do deals with you. Yeah. Right. Yeah, these are all my personal friends, like people I hang out with. You'll see them on my social media. I do deals with them. Like Justin Tumanowski, he just bought a church in Maine and converted it into multifamily. Like these are the types of people I'll introduce you to. Oh heck yeah, that's cool. It's a whole different. If you're a West Coaster, you have no idea how cool the like New England area is. It's a whole nother country. I'm teasing. I buy in California RV parks, mobile home parks personally, but my like other buyers, they'll do single family stuff. I'll introduce you to them. Yeah. I have single family deals that I'll sell, but I'm not holding single family houses in my portfolio. If I have a crappy government and I live there, I'm okay with it. If I have a crappy government and I'm virtually investing, I don't want that. Honestly, I got married there. I love California, the food, the people, everything. Just get Trudeau out and I'll move over there. It'll be great. I don't know what it is, but somebody's keeping Trudeau in office, guys. There's somebody in here. Oh, wait, what's his name? No, new, same freaking thing. Okay, so wedge method. I'm gonna do like one more thing with you guys. I'll do one more thing with you guys. Has this been enlightening? Okay. All right, so this is one of my favorite things to do. So if I could go back in time, I would have capped myself at 25 single-family rentals. There's a point where you're just like, I done did it. It's time to go bigger. I just was such a single-family dude for the longest time, and I stuck with it. I still do single-family, but primarily what I do with single-family is I sell them to families that can't afford to go through a bank. So I'm still doing single-family transactions. I'm just not holding them as much. The only places I really hold single-family is now in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm doing co-living as my exit strategy because it cash flows incredibly well. Make sense? Okay, so what have I converted into in the last couple of years? I do a lot more RV parks. RV parks are the greatest asset in my personal opinion because it's basically just renting dirt. Like somebody asked me in the elevator the other day, they're like, so what do you do for a living? Because I look like a drug dealer the way I dress. Like a hoodie and whatever. So I was like, I rent dirt. It's like, what? I go, yeah, I rent dirt. That's what I do. If I could break it down, I rent dirt. So this property, Darville RV Park, I'm closing on this in like the next 30 days. So please don't try and snake the deal. It's under contract. It's in escrow. Don't steal this deal from me, okay? That's not how EXP operates, okay? This was brought to me from an agent. And this RV park, I bought it because not only is it cash flowing, who's been watching Landman with, what's his name? Billy Bob, right? So that town that they film in is this freaking town. It's nothing but oil. So the oil companies have rented out my RV park for 3 years in advance. Pretty cool, right? I've got even better RV parks than this one. Oh, you want to know why? Okay, so remember when I said context is king? Okay, the seller, before Trump won, thought that what's-her-name was going to win. And he thought oil prices were going to drop and he was going to lose all his clientele. So he's fire selling this property, and the other people in town are like, nobody wanted to buy this thing. It's in Kermit, Texas, for heaven's sakes. And so I get it under contract, probably 500 grand less than what it's worth. And it was an expired listing. I buy it, 1.7 million. I bought it creatively. The main reason I bought it, because I see there's 2 acres to the side of it. So you guys see just south, there's like the acreage right there. We're developing that and expanding the park because there's so much demand in this town. And anyway, the guy sold it to us because he thought Kamala was going to win. You can't make this stuff up. I got a story for every single seller. So anyway, I bought it after all expenses, after all vacancy, after all management, everything you can even imagine. This park nets, actually, I think I put the math on here this morning. There it is. Look at this. I gave the agent 20% of the deal. His name's Brandon Harris. Okay? I gave him 20% of the deal. Why? Because he's brought me 3 other RV parks. So did he get paid some money up front? Yes. He got paid some money up front. We bought it for 1.7. I paid him 1%, so he made 17 grand, I think is what it was. He didn't make a full 3% because he wanted a higher percentage of equity. So I was like, if you want 3%, I'll give you 7% equity. If you want 1%, I'll bump you up to 15. But if you bring me a deal in the next couple of weeks, another deal, I'll bump you up to 20. So he's at 20%. So he'll get a check for $5,200 a month on this, every single month. So this is what I'm trying to get you agents to understand. Yes, sir. Okay, so my hold period, our exit strategy on this is actually 36 months. We're going to expand, stabilize, and then we'll probably sell this one. I rarely sell assets like this, but it's in Kermit, Texas, and I don't want to own in Kermit, Texas. So I'll 1031 my capital. I don't know what Brandon will do with his, but we'll end up selling that for like probably 3.5. We'll almost double the value. We'll sell it for 3.5. So he'll get a check for $5,200 every single month for, it won't be exactly $5,200, you get it. And then he'll get 20% of the appreciation as well, 20% of the tax benefits, everything. All you agents, think about this. If you would have been doing this the last 10 years in your business, working with investors like me and said, hey, how can I wedge into your deals? Find me one real estate investor that you could talk to and say, if I brought you deals, could I wedge into equity? Find one that would say no. But what happens with agents is they're like so in the thing that you have your blinders on, you're not realizing us. We exist. We just want your attention. Oh, in our world, just so you know, your reputation is not good. And I opened it up that way. Where are my real estate investors in here? Who's with me on the other side? Do we not all on our side when we're having private dinners, we all talk shit about agents? And then what's funny is agents also talk shit about agents. But guess what? You guys talk bad about us, and we talk bad about us too. It's just, I think that's how it is in every industry, to be honest. And it's always like the top 2 to 5% of people you want to work with. Those are the kind of people that come to rooms like this. You know, there's the EXP agents that would never pay for a flight to come to this event. There's people who would never pay for their education. There's people that don't realize they are the greatest asset of themselves. It's like, if I invest in myself and I empower myself, I'm the greatest thing I can invest in. How many agents that you talk to on a daily basis would never think that way? Right, those are the ones that give everybody a bad reputation. Same thing with people on my side. The guys that watch my YouTube channel but never actually do things the right way, and they watch a 7-minute video and they try and do what I do, those are the ones that give me a bad reputation. Sorry, but you're right. You are 100% right. Okay, so wedge method. Okay, yes, sir. Man, I'm getting a lot of questions today. I must have been doing a good job. Oh, okay. Love it. Are you like Corpus Christi or where? South, that would be, okay, got it, okay. Yeah, that's a cool, yeah. Yes, sir. I love it. Yes. Yes, I probably own 30 million, no. My biggest asset I own is in Houston, Texas. It's in the Woodlands. It's $110 million. But outside of that, I probably own another $30 million in real estate in Texas. I love Texas. There's a lot of people doing syndicates and going down. I don't do syndicates. Yes, that one I bought 3 years ago, so it was before that big story you're talking about. Yeah, not fun. Those guys that are using banks suck. Okay. Okay, so I have a lot of stuff I could go through with you guys. At the end of the day, I think I've given you enough today that you're like, I know what to do. Send me an email. I'll connect you with buyers in your area. Those buyers will take care of you the same way I would take care of you. And if they don't, send me a message. I'll help you out. Okay? Let's talk about just a couple more things. This is probably my favorite thing I bought with Creative Finance. I bought a vintage flag for $500. It was like a $5,000 flag. I bought it from a guy for, I said, I'll buy it for $500, $10 a month for 50 months. I own 2 Cadillac Escalades, 2024 and a 2025. Both just took over payments. Okay, I do that with cars all the time. This is my little plane I just bought my son. This is cool. So we buy businesses as well with Creative Finance. And this plane, I actually was helping a guy sell his training school, and he was trying to keep a couple of planes for himself to sell off. And I said, well, what are you going to do with them? He's like, I'm going to sell off, and I want to get a little bit higher number. And I go, well, my son's taking flight lessons, and I want to get him into being a pilot. Can I buy one? And so I bought that one for $0 down, 0% interest, no payments until my son becomes a commercial airline pilot, and he'll pay the payments when he becomes a commercial airline pilot. Okay, so there's the plane. You can do this with land. Okay, you already know this if you're doing land. Land is heavy with seller finance. Tons of stuff on seller finance. You guys want to have fun tonight in your hotel room? You brought your wife, bro. There you go. She already knows. Okay, so you guys are already done? 5 kids? 4, start over. Press the reset button. I know. It's easy for a guy to say, right? We don't give up our whole entire lives to raise a child, so. Okay, this one's a cool one. Really quick story. I bought 50 lots. Seller, when we talked to him, he says, I want $15,000 per lot. I said, how about $16,000 per lot? Why? Because I want you guys to remember something the way I think about stuff. I don't think in terms of like ARV like a lot of people do. I think of it's never about the purchase price, it's what I can do with the property. So what I did is I said, $16,000, his name is Steve, and I said, hey, Steve, I'll buy all those 50 lots for $16,000, pay you an extra $1,000 more than what you're asking for, but I just want you to get paid after I build the houses on them. So I went to a mobile home developer, and I partnered with him 50-50. I made $1.8 million. I never had to buy the land until my buyers came and bought the houses that the land was sitting on, and Bob got paid his $16,000. Okay? If you want to have fun in your hotel room tonight, I'll give you a great website. Again, that doesn't come out too good. So, yeah, we get really dirty over here. So, landwatch.com is one of my favorite websites, and if you use the filter owner finance, lower left-hand corner, I think there's like 130,000 listings right now of land that's on seller finance. You can bring those to people like me, have the first conversation with the seller. Guys, here's where I think agents are very like prohibited in their mind. Because you're trying to hit numbers, and you're trying to hit your commissions, you're trying to do whatever, but you're like in your own local market. You know you can do deals outside of where you're licensed, right? You know you could go on landwatch.com and you could like call somebody that says, I will sell my land on owner finance, and you could bring that to a buyer like me. I would buy it, I would develop it and make you a partner on it, and you don't even need to use your license one bit. What I find is there's a lot of agents that like really prohibit themselves in this little bubble of this is where I live, this is where I do my stuff. Am I right about this? Okay. Landwatch.com is a really good one. It's where we find a lot of land deals. This is one of my favorite deals, Glacier Peaks. If you guys are ever in Montana, I own 2 RV parks right by Glacier National Park where I spend my summers. And I bought this one in another park about a mile away from it. You guys got to realize a lot of these sellers that want really high numbers, we think they're crazy when we don't understand creative finance. But we realize how good of a lead they are when we do understand creative finance. So the seller's name is Eric. Eric is wanting to retire. So let's talk about just, can I go like 5 more minutes? Okay. So here's a really interesting thing. So sellers that want to retire, how do we retire if I'm a big real estate investor? How do I retire? I sell, okay. So if I sell, taxes, that sucks. I don't want to donate money to like other countries and like whatever. I mean, right? Am I right? Can you guys tell I'm Republican? I don't know what I am. Who knows? I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a little Democrat, little Republican. Okay, so this house or this property on Crexi.com, okay, CREXI.com, filter is owner finance. And the broker, where does this come from? Expired listing, okay? I called the expired listing. The seller, Eric, says, yeah, I'll sell this to you, but I really need to get 4.5. I said, well, Eric, you had it originally listed for 5. I'll give you the $5 million you originally listed it for, but I want seller finance. And he says, why would I do seller finance? And I go, well, why are you selling it in the first place? Is it not making money? He goes, no, it makes great money. I live in Bozeman. I'm not set up to manage it. Most real estate investors are not set up like I am. I have a big team that manages all my stuff. I don't know any tenant's name. I don't deal with any stuff. Most real estate investors are small mom and pops. So they get to a point where like, I'm sick and tired of changing the light bulbs. I want to sell this freaking property. And so I said, Eric, if you sell right now, why are you selling for so high? And he says, because I'm anticipating what? He's anticipating capital gains. And so what happens a lot of times, guys, single family or other asset types, your sellers are adding their stupid capital gains tax to the sales price and trying to force that crap on you and say, go sell this thing. Okay? And real estate investors that understand creative finance like me, I'm like, what do I care what the purchase price is? I care how I structure it. So let me give you a very simple way to think about it. If I have a house that's worth $100,000 and a seller says, I'll sell it to you for $1 million. Is that a good deal? What if, great answer. What if, okay, we'll come back to that. What if I told you I'd give you $100,000 to jump out of an airplane without a parachute? Would you do it? Okay, but what if I told you the airplane was on the ground and it was only 2 feet off the... Okay, you see how the context changes things, right? Okay, so let's go back to the house again. That $100,000 house, what if I structure a $10 payment for 100 years? Would I now buy that house at a contract price of $1 million? Abso-freaking-lutely I would. Why? Because there's no house in America I can't rent for $1,000 or $1,500 a month. So what do I care if my payment is $10 a month if I can cash flow $1,490 a month? Okay, so this RV park in Montana, we make a ton of money in the summertime. It's desolate in the wintertime, but it nets me probably $21,000 a month in my pocket net every single month. And I overpaid for the property $500,000. Why? Because I got 4% interest. If I bought this 2 summers ago, which is when I bought it, my interest rate would have been roughly 7.5%. I got 4%. And I gave the guy 5% down on $5 million. I can't get a commercial loan for that. So if you really look at the amortization, did I underpay or overpay? I underpaid for the asset because I structured it properly. And this is what I'm very, 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 very good at, is I will give people the number as long as I can get the terms that make sense for me and the investor. I never fight on price. I will fight on down payment and terms, okay? Okay, so RV parks, simple, easy. Man, I love stopping people from foreclosure. It's like the greatest thing on the planet. I do a lot of co-living. This house is a co-living house. This is my most recent seller finance deal, $20 million, 160 unit, seller finance, no money down, 4% interest, no balloon. Great deal. This one nets us $53,000 every single month. Guess who brought this to us? A broker off of an expired listing. Isn't that crazy? How many expired listings I make money off? Yes.
How many of those people are utilizing 1031 exchanges?
Okay, so here's what I love this question. What's your name? Tina. What's up, Tina? I like your blouse. It's very cute. Okay, so Tina, it's a lovely question. I love this question so much. So she's asking, how many people are using 1031 when they're retiring? So here's how I look at 1031s. If somebody told you you could get divorced, are you married? Anybody in here been recently divorced? Anybody divorced? Come on, come on, come on. Okay, right here. Is this your husband that you just divorced right here? No? Okay. Okay, so you're recently divorced. You are divorced. Okay, what if somebody told you the only way to get a divorce from this asshole is to marry a bigger asshole? That's what we call a 1031 exchange. Because think about it, if I sell a $10 million asset, I can't go buy another $10 million asset. I've got to buy something bigger, usually, okay, depending on how much depreciation they took, et cetera. And so most of them, when they're retiring, they don't want to do a 1031 exchange. And the biggest issue, actually, is their inheritance. Their children have been so spoiled. Like this guy on this property, he has 7 kids. They're all drug addicts. None of them want to take over the property.
But I mean, not even in other assets, not real estate.
Oh yeah, sometimes they do, yeah.
Gas, oil, you know, I mean.
Yeah. So like this guy did no balloon, but he's like, I just want my kids to be fine. That payment is basically an annuity for them. So in his mind, he's like, it's safe. I understand the asset. If I default, what does he get back? He gets a property, but not just a property. He gets a property he truly understands, and he actually built it 35 years ago himself. He was the contractor, so he knows it intimately. So for him, he's like, if I got the cash, I'd have to go and risk it on a different investment. Otherwise, I know this such a great question. And context changes everything, right? And by the way, how do I know this stuff? Because I build relationships with my sellers, and I understand their tax implications better than they do in a lot of ways. And I'll get my CPA on a phone call with them and go, your CPA is kind of stupid. Anybody ever change your CPA in the last 5 years? Like literally everybody will raise their hand in that situation. People are so sick and tired of how bad CPAs are. It's not necessarily their fault. Our tax laws are very complicated. And so how do you learn them all? It's hard. It's really, really hard. Yes?
Will you do commercial?
I love commercial, yeah.
Not just multifamily?
I have one of the one of my best friends in that 500 is the largest Amazon data facility builder in the United States. And then another one of my friends has 57 million ground up construction commercial projects, 57 million square feet under development right now. So yes, even if I'm not the developer, which I don't like to develop anymore, I'll put you in touch with the right developer. We'll do it nationwide. And what I would do is I'd look at these things and I go, who can I tap into and get equity in this deal? Like that's how my brain works, right? Okay. This is one of my favorite companies I bought. June of 2022, I bought this company, The Plant Guy. Our clients are like DJ Khaled, Mariah Carey, all that kind of stuff. It's artificial plants. And the guy I'm going to tell you guys how smart this is, okay? And then I'm going to wrap this up. Think creatively. So this guy, he's behind on taxes, he's behind on payroll taxes, he's behind on everything because he's a visionary, okay? Steve's a visionary. Where are my visionaries? I feel like you're a visionary. You can spot visionaries out of a crowd. Like, who are my visionaries? You hate paperwork, you just want to be on the phone talking deals, okay? Okay, those are visionaries, and then we've got our integrators. Our integrators are typically like, I want to be a TC. I want to be a transaction coordinator. That's an integrator, right? Typically. Bro, like I break out in hives when I look at contracts, right? So my partner, his name's Jeffrey Lang. He's on the far left side. Super flamboyant, super gay, amazing human being. Just so artistic, and so he creates really, really well, and he sells really, really well too, but he can't manage his books. So he's years behind on his taxes. So when we reach out to companies, I go, what's your biggest problem? And he's like, I'm behind on this. I can't pay my payroll. I've got $7 million in sales, and I don't know how I'm going to pay my payroll next week. I've even contemplated buying a gun and blowing my brains out multiple times. Like in the last couple, he's crying to me, sobbing to me. How did I solve this problem and buy 50% of his company? This is what I did. I found a CPA, and I said, hey, do you want 10% of this company? And so I brought a CPA right here in Fort Lauderdale, brought him in, cleaned up everything in the company in his part-time, like, side work. I took 40% of the company, the CPA took 10%. Welcome to Creative Finance. That company pays me $40,000 every single month. I don't have to go to the office. I don't do anything. That guy posts on social media. They run everything. It'll do $9 million in sales this year. That's a fun company. Is there any limit to anything I can't do? No, there's no limit, okay? Another company I bought, theperfectclean.com, that's another similar story. We're franchising that now. Mobile homes, mobile home parks. I do a lot of 0% seller finance, tons of 0% seller finance deals. You guys want to go buy stuff with 0% seller finance? Oh my gosh, it's 20% of my whole portfolio. Okay, I think I'm almost done, but I have some cool fun things. There's my house in Montana. $1 down payment, 3.7. Can I tell you this last story? Okay, so context is key, right? Why would people do this? You got to get on the phone and ask them, what's the pain point? This guy's a builder. He built this home for he built the home, he's into it for $2 million, okay? He's trying to sell it on the retail market. What happens in the middle of 2022? Rates go up, buyers dissipate. He goes, I don't want to sell this house, so he starts to look, I don't want to sell it. I don't want to sell it, so what he does is this. He moves into it. Cool. So he moves into it. Why? Why would a builder move into their house? His interest on the builder loan. So he's got a builder loan that's hemorrhaging, and he's trying to list this property for $3.7 million. He's got $2 million in debt on it, so he refinances as the rates are going up. He's at like 3.5. He got a good rate. Okay, locked in a good rate. He's like, okay, I guess this is our new home. Goes down the road 10 miles and goes and builds another one as a spec, because that's what he does. That's how he makes money. Rates go up even further. Now guess what he has to do? Move into that house. So he moves into the larger house. What happens to this one is he's now trying to sell it again. It's empty. So I just came along and I go, hey, I see it's on the market. I see that you're not selling it. Can I just buy that property from you? He goes, yeah, I really wish I could have gotten my $4 million, but I'm willing to part at 3.5 cash. I go, how about we do 3.7 on seller finance? He goes, well, I have a loan on it. I go, perfect, I'll take over the loan. He's like, you can do that? I go, yeah, you can do that. So I bought it on contract for deed, different conversation, different day. Bought it contract for deed, took over his $2 million loan at 3.5%, and then his remaining equity, I make a payment to that as well, 0% seller finance, and I gave him $1 down payment and took over the house. I do events there, so it does make me money. It's a hefty payment, $17,000 a month, but I do events there, like private money. I do teach people private money, and so I'll do an event in my barn once a summer, and it pays for my payment every single year. So where do you find these? I find them on Crexy.com. I find them on my investor software. I find them on Landwatch.com, LoopNet.com. LoopNet's another really good one you could go to as well. Okay? All right. A lot of microfamily, a lot of fourplexes, etc. Okay. So if you are ever wondering, like, who can do the title, yes, this is a plug, not intentional for me to make money. But if you're like, I have a sub-2, a seller finance deal, nobody in the country does this better than me. And so I built a title company. This is my COO. This is Molly. She runs my whole company. And if you ever need something from Molly, you need a TC. Okay, if you're like, I want to do a sub-2 deal in Milwaukee. I need a Milwaukee beer drinking TC. I imagine that's all anybody does in Milwaukee. Molly will connect you with a TC that will help you do the paperwork, okay? So for a lot of you guys, your TCs don't know how to do stuff unless it's a regular transaction. Let Molly connect you with a TC there. That TC will help you train your existing TC on how to do this stuff, okay? So you never have to have a question about how do I do the paperwork because I just gave you the answer. And you never have to worry about where do I open escrow and handle these properly and legally and get title insurance and all that kind of stuff. I just gave you the answer, okay? Can you tell I've been working really hard on this for like 12 years to like make this possible for everybody? Like walk into a room and go, I'll give you the investors, I'll give you the TCs, I'll give you the title company. Didn't exist when I jumped in. I had to make this, I had to build this stuff. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah.